Hello everyone, I'm driving to Santa Cruz right now, and I wanted to talk about how my last week has been. There were actually a few things I wrote down that I wanted to talk about, but I didn't, I'm driving, so I can't read the notes, so I just wanted to, what have I done? I mean, first, I got my website pretty much squared away as far as I wanted for a presentation to employers, and then I was going to start, heavily applying for jobs last week. But I started doing this for one of my Upwork clients. He asked me to help him with another thing, and then that led to another thing, and then which has now led to I'm kind of doing a part-time contracting with him now in his startup, but not getting paid, very much. But I'm doing it right now for the experience, and I've decided I'll keep applying for jobs. Keep applying for jobs, and then keep working with him on his project, and so that's going to give me some good real life work experience. I think they're working on an app, and it's for creating slideshows, like PowerPoints. So you can input text into the slideshow, and the app uses different APIs to collect icons and pictures, and I think some other stuff, maybe some it generates title and the title of the slide and stuff like that. So it's supposed to help you push out a slideshow quickly without having to go and collect the content yourself, which is pretty awesome. I think it's a really cool app, and I'm excited to be working on it. So far I've been working on the last thing I helped with was there was a bug in the program, because what's going on is they're using SVG elements for the slides and the containers of the images and icons and things and text. It's all SVG. So for some reason they made the parent SVG slide element is like huge. It's like 20,000 pixels. The view box is something like 30,000 pixels by 20,000 or something like that. So it's which causes kind of some problems with it in relation to other elements, I guess. So for example, like the one that is kind of a strange bug, but it was that we had an HTML element called it was an editable element, which means that you can go in and change stuff. So it was inside of a table data thing and a table data element, and so the editable element is I forget what the element was exactly, but I think the HTML was just called, the element was called editable, which I don't think is an actual HTML element. But anyway, it's the caret was not showing because the SVG was so big and the font size. I guess because editable content editable is kind of an unusual thing that doesn't have as great of support as other kinds of text input. Actually, no, even the regular text input wasn't working very well. It had the same problem with the input element, but the problem is the caret. It's the little cursor that shows you where you're currently typing at. So like when you're writing in Microsoft Word or something, the little line, vertical line that appears at the end of the sentence while you're typing, that's what the caret is. And so the caret was, because the font size is so huge to compensate for the slide being so huge, there has been, the caret was too thin. It was like extremely thin because the font size, I think, was like 2,000 pixels. And since it was 2,000 pixels, for some reason the caret didn't scale. And so what you got is like, the caret looks okay even up to like 100 pixels. But so you have like a 10 times, past that it's like, it starts getting too small. So you had like 10 times too small of a caret, because 20 times too small because of how big the font size was. So the way we fixed this was, we fixed it by kind of using some HTML and CSS hacks. I used scale to scale up the elements, and some other stuff that I don't have to go into detail about. But anyway, that was one thing. The SVG and it's fixing the caret bug. That was the second job I did for this startup. And the first one was using. I created a tool, a JavaScript tool, to crop an image. So you can press like left and right buttons or up and down buttons, and they would make the image crop from the left or the right or the top or the bottom. And that way you could you can crop an image with the interactive buttons. So that was the first thing. And I used what's that thing called? Clip path, CSS. So I made a JavaScript tool that adjusted the clip path style of the element based on the pressing of the buttons and stuff like that. So that was the first thing. And then now I've been working on a cool little right-click menu, which they called it a context menu. So when you right-click on one of the elements in the slide, it's going to make it so that you can edit the thing. And so you get a bunch of options like send to back or bring to front or such things. Change color for text and stuff like that. And so the right-click menu is going to be, it's going to read what type of element you're clicking on. So whether it's an image or an icon or whatever, and it's going to show the appropriate selections for that type of element that you clicked on. So it's been cool. It's a lot of fun. It's also been very frustrating to work on these things, and because of the fact that I'm doing it in a contract style. So when the longer it takes me to finish the issue, the more it costs. The less money I'm making, the more time it costs me, and the less money I'm making. So, when you are a beginner, you don't have much experience doing these types of things. Doing contracting is a little bit rough because you don't really know how long things are going to take, and I think generally we tend to, at least I think, severely underestimate how long something is going to take. Somebody told me once that if you think something is going to take this long with contracting, you can take that amount of time and double it, and then you'll get the actual closer idea of what time it's going to actually take to fix that thing. But so I'm trying to not get so angry when I'm working on something and it's taking a long time, because I want to keep in mind that I'm doing this primarily I want the experience, and I'm glad to be able to work on something like a real world project and be able to get experience out of that. So that's been good. Besides that, it's like a whole month has gone by since I finished my program that I was doing a university program for web development. It was a year-long program, and I finished it, and it was it's been a month, and I was going to start applying for jobs right after I finished the program, which I did. I did it for about a week, and I sent about 10 applications in a week, which is not very many. I think for the way I'm doing it, I'm writing out a customized cover letter for each job, and it's taking at least half an hour for each job. I think I should be able to cut down each application to half an hour, 45 minutes. So I should be able to send like 3 to 6 per day, and then have time left over to work on my other projects. And I think that's a good strategy. And then also I'm going to be making sure to keep following up with the applications that I send, which is something that I had not known that I should be doing, but I kind of found out more recently. And I did follow up with a couple of the earlier applications that I sent, and I at least got a reply. But it was from a recruitment company. I got a reply back that they said the job's already been taken, and it's been a month that's gone by. So it's kind of a long time, but should be following up probably with the person I heard this from said. His name was Dane Miller. He said that you should follow up 3 to 5 times, and the first time you follow up 3 days after you send the application. So that's why I have all the applications that I've sent in an Excel sheet, and I'm doing it on Indeed. So they give you a list on Indeed of all the things you've sent. So I go and go in there and what's it called? I just go down the list and check. I go to type in the company name or the recruitment agency's name on Google, and then go find an email that I can email, even if it's like a support email or something, just somebody's email, so somebody can get this. Somebody can get, it's like a real person can see your. That you're trying to make contact with them, because I'm pretty sure Indeed doesn't let you follow up with employers. You can apply once, and that's pretty much it. So it's kind of up to you to go figure out a way to get yourself in front of somebody's computer screen. But I've been enjoying applying for jobs. I just think it's been a slow start for me. Like I said, a month has gone by, and I've only sent 11 applications so far. But so it's been because I worked on my website for a while. I think my website was kind of shabby when I started a month ago, and then I worked on it for a couple of weeks, and I learned several new things. Like I learned how to use Elementor with WordPress, and I learned that I could just grab a custom a template to base my whole thing off of, like on starter templates, which is what I was thinking. Like I used to see WordPress. When you look at the WordPress themes that they have examples of, and you're like, damn, this looks great, let's do this. And then you go, and all you get is the blank Gutenberg WordPress editor, and you try and put some stuff in, and it looks like trash. And you're like, why did it look so good in the theme example? How do I do this? So, I mean, one of the ways you can easily get your website to look good from the start is just to start from a template and then just customize the template and fill in the areas that you can use, and then, add some things to make it a little more your own style. But base it off a template so that you don't have to waste like a ton of time customizing your own website when you're trying to, this is from what I've heard from Dane Miller. So when my interest is not to start learning how to be like a custom WordPress developer, even though I spent a ton of time on WordPress just trying to make my own website. Because I didn't realize that I could use a template and use Elementor, I was just using CSS, customizing the page. I was using CSS and the Gutenberg editor. Pretty much that was it. Using like heavy CSS to style things in WordPress, and I was like thinking, why is this so difficult? It seems like it's harder than it should be. I mean, it was easier kind of than making your own thing from scratch, but still it was easier than coding a website from scratch, kind of. But it was like not that much improvement, it felt like. So now it makes sense. If you use Elementor, it's basically drag and drop. It's like you're in Wix or Squarespace or something. I don't know if Squarespace does drag and drop actually. So Elementor is great for if you're making your own WordPress website. And then what else is there? So for the following week, I've resolved to spend the first part of my day where I have the most energy to sending my applications, and then later on I will be working on the contracted freelance project I have with the startup that's working on Slido. And also my plan is to just keep improving my React projects. If I'm still not getting responses from recruiters or employers, that means that my projects are not enough, or that they're not good enough. So, as far as I can tell, I can't think of what else it would be, or my cover letter sucks, which I don't think that's what it is, because I think my cover letters, I write them pretty well, or my resume, So it's got to be one of those things, I would think. Or perhaps lack of education. But from what I've heard, you can get into this field without a bachelor's degree. So I'm just gonna keep working on that. I have two full stack React apps that I've built so far, and then several more React projects that I've built, a lot of them from tutorials, or at least based on tutorials. But it could be one of my main weaknesses that I don't have enough React projects to show. I mean, I have I have 2 React projects that I can really call my own, and they're well, in my opinion, they're well-made full-stack apps that show that I have a working knowledge of React, and then the rest of my React apps are pretty much just tutorials that I've done. So maybe that's not enough, just having 2 React apps and some tutorials as projects. From the guy listening to Dane Miller, he said, when you complete the tutorial, you can put it on your projects page. So I've been putting them on there, even though I personally don't see that as being a great thing to show to employers, because they know what you're doing is following a tutorial, which pretty much means that you can do it without even retaining any knowledge of the program, because apparently a lot of people do tutorials, but they don't really feel like they learned anything from it, which probably makes sense if you're coding along and if you are not doing it in a way that helps you to learn better. Like, I think probably a better than just coding along is to, read the code and then, first read the whole tutorial maybe a couple of times, and then you just, once you've read it, you can go and read the individual parts, and then when there's something to implement, just read it once and then try to implement it yourself without copying it line for line. And then, like, if you really have to copy it, then just glance at it and then copy the part that you needed trouble with, and then make sure you come back and try and practice that so that you can remember how to do it on your own. And the point is to, like, it's like you're doing a math problem. It's the same. If you've ever done a math problem, then you gotta. It doesn't make sense to just go through the solutions manual and write the solution down. That's kind of what you're doing when you're just coding along. It's like you're in a math class and you're just finishing all your answers by looking at the solutions manual. You don't learn from copying from the solutions manual. I mean, it helps you a little bit because obviously it's helpful to have the solutions manual for some reason, but it can't be your only way of learning. Like, you have to do the math. You have to be able to do the math problem on your own. And so, I guess that's where building projects on your own comes in. Yeah, that's another thing when you do tutorials. Is that I think a great idea is to do, if you do the tutorial, do it once by the way I've just said, just by going part for part and doing what you can remember. And if there's something you can't remember, then do it. Read it, write it down, and then repeat it a couple times in your code. Like, write it several times. That way you can remember it. And then when you but you can come back and then just rebuild the thing, the app that you just built. Just see if you can rebuild the tutorial without having help. I mean, that's a great way to just to test your knowledge. If you just checked, you just you went through the whole tutorial, and now you're like, okay, do I actually know this or not? So you just go rebuild the app. And that's even a great chance for you to throw in your own twist on the app, or the tutorial, whatever project it is you just built. You can, what are you going to do? Like, you can, like, one example that I heard was if you're going to, if you're doing like how to make a blog tutorial, it's something similar is like how to make a, maybe like an Instagram clone or something, because instead of listing blog posts or listing images and comments, instead, like, there's kind of similar things, so you can use that to just try one more time and see if, maybe you can try and build the tutorial over again before you try and put your own twist on it. But that could be a great way to, since you already have the knowledge, it makes sense to master that. I don't know if I've actually even done this myself before, but it makes sense though. Like, if you need to, the fire truck. If you want to learn how to do a tutorial, how to learn the code in the tutorial, what's a better way to do it than go through it once and then try and do it on your own again? And then, like, if you keep doing that until you've learned, until you can do it on your own, then that just means that you know how to do it now, and you don't need to read it anymore. And that means that you can, once you can do that, then you can go and and create your own version of that tutorial. So that's a way to go. And yeah, so that's been my last week. So I don't know. I think what do I have then? A total of like 5 or 6 React projects. 3 or 4 of them being tutorials. So I think I know that if I'm not getting replies, that's what my weakness is. So maybe it's not enough to have 2 full stack React apps. One of them is a recipe collection app where you can input data, you can upload images, and you can upload recipes and then have them displayed later and saved on your account. And then the other one is a sleep tracker app where you can input the data, different data points for how you slept, and then that it creates graphs for you to view your progress on how well you're sleeping. So that's 2 ways there for you to work on your sleep. Those are 2 projects that I've created. So I'm gonna go now. I'm almost at my destination, but thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you guys next time. And I hope you guys are having a great time, and good luck out there with your web development projects. All right, goodbye.